Dear friends, welcome to another episode of Geopolitical and Military News. In this video, we will discuss why Russia is losing so many aircraft in recent weeks in Ukraine. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. In all modern conflicts, the aerial aspect is essential, especially since World War II, when commanders and strategists recognized that controlling the skies is crucial for land victory. For example, in the final phase of that conflict, from the second half of 1944, despite Germany still having formidable ground forces with millions of soldiers and thousands of the best armored vehicles in the skies, the Luftwaffe had already lost its supremacy to the Allies. This forced the Germans to move only at night and submit to highly costly attacks in battles fought during the day. In this regard, the Russian invasion of Ukraine is no different. Before the invasion began, the Russian Air Force was seen as the second largest and most powerful in the world, with huge quantities of practically all types of aircraft, from advanced fighters like the Sukhoi Su-35, to fighter bombers like the Su-34, a high number of multi-role fighters like the MiG-29 and Su-27, ground attack fighters like the Su-25, and of course, support aircraft like the crucial A-50, and early warning, communication, and command aircraft responsible for coordinating and covering all major aerial operations. All of this massive structure was launched by Putin against Ukraine from the first day of the invasion. Russia achieved and maintained air superiority over the region from the outset. However, despite its efforts, it failed to establish air supremacy. The difference between air superiority and air supremacy is that the former refers to the ability of an air force to conduct its operations relatively safely while significantly limiting enemy aerial operations. This is exactly what is happening now in Ukraine. Air supremacy, on the other hand, occurs when the adversary cannot carry out any type of operation in the air, not even defensive ones using missiles and anti-aircraft artillery. With regard specifically to air support, Ukraine has been and continues to be greatly affected by the Russian Air Force, which has prevented Ukrainian aircraft from providing support to their forces on the ground, being decisive for the failure of the Ukrainian offensive launched in June 2023. However, regarding air defense, Ukraine has been doing a strong job, largely due to the large quantities of various types of highly advanced and technological air defenses, which have been exacting a heavy toll on the Russian Air Force. All of these air defenses have been exacting a high price on Russian aircraft. More specifically now, in February, with the Russian invasion completing 2 years, the number of Russian aircraft shot down by Ukraine has increased significantly. In fact, in a period of just 7 days this month, Russia lost 9 warplanes, including the highly advanced Su-35, worth $70 million, and the vital A-50, estimated to cost between $300 and $500 million. The A-50 is the most important aircraft for Russia, as it is responsible for marking targets in the air and on the ground, also acting as an early warning, alerting Russian pilots to the approach of threats such as enemy aircraft or missiles. Its crew consists of up to 15 members, all highly trained officers and technicians. This was the second A-50 shot down by Ukraine, with a third being damaged in a drone attack in Belarus. But what exactly explains such a significant increase in Russian aircraft shot down by Ukraine? It is a combination of factors. Starting obviously with Ukrainian air defenses. For obvious security reasons, we do not know exactly how many anti-aircraft defenses of each type Ukraine possesses. But we know that Ukrainians operate systems perfectly capable of hitting and shooting down Russian aircraft at medium and long range, such as the German Iris-T, with a version with a range of 12 kilometers and another with a range of 40 kilometers and altitude of 20 kilometers. The NASAMS from the United States, with a range that, depending on the model, can be up to 50 kilometers and altitude of 21 kilometers, is also capable of causing these losses. But none of them compares to the Patriot, which armed with PAC-2 missiles, is capable of hitting aerial targets at 160 kilometers away and at 32,000 m altitude. Therefore, one of the reasons for this significant increase in the number of Russian aircraft intercepted by Ukraine may be the increase in the number of anti-aircraft batteries in Ukraine and their deployment in areas closer to the front line. Until then, the priority of these defenses was to protect important Ukrainian installations in the rear, such as electrical and heating installations in cities. But now, probably as a consequence of the increase in the number of these batteries, Ukrainians are deploying them in areas closer to combat, contributing to increasing the number of operations. Another reason may be the increase in Russian aerial activity. Those who follow the channel know that Russia is taking advantage of the suspension of arms deliveries from the United States, with the Congress strongly controlled by the Republicans and former President Trump halting arms deliveries. Putin sees this as an opportunity to reinforce his attacks on some points of the front line, attacks that, to have any chance of success, need to be supported by aviation. With Russia increasing the frequency and intensity of its attacks on land, the number of aircraft in the skies has also increased. This factor, combined with the aforementioned increase in the number of anti-aircraft batteries and their deployment in areas closer to combat zones, may help explain why Russia lost more than $1.5 billion in aircraft in just the first 2 months of 2024. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now to support us, and leave your like. Until next time.